This is always a very special moment, opportunity, event for us here at Thompson High School. Has a great reputation of certainly being one of the best programs, and we dedicate everything that we do to honor, to show respect to, and love and appreciation for our veterans. So we know a lot of you have those in your life, family members, and friends and family who have served or are still serving. And we know of some that have made the sacrifice. So whatever way you service, vow, courage, display of ultimate service to our great nation, whatever that is, today is day, tomorrow, and throughout the weekend, it is an opportunity for all of us to give thanks, appreciation, and respect for our outstanding veterans. And we do have several here amongst us today, and their family members, and on behalf of Thompson High School, our Master and everyone involved in our organization, I would like to thank our thank you to those who are present with us today. So veterans, thank you very much. Let's give them. Leadership, and also our band, choir, everyone is involved in education leaders that are involved in the program. It's very special, and again, everything is focused on our veterans. So I really appreciate the attendance and the respect that our students show. We're going to have an outstanding program today. And at this time, I'm going to invite Lauren McMillan up to the podium to begin a series of activities. She's going to lead us in education. We're also coming out of presentation colors, and of course, banner. So at this time, we'll everyone stand for our presentation.
Please have a seat. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jason Davis, and I'm the Junior ROTC Senior Aerospace Science Instructor here at Thompson High School. And once again, on behalf of Lancaster City Schools, Thompson High School Administration, and our Junior ROTC Air Warriors, I'd like to thank you all for being with us today as we honor our veterans. At this time, I would like to ask all veterans to please stand or raise your hand so that you can be recognized. Many sacrifices to protect us and our nation, we also need to remember that right beside them are family members who share in making those sacrifices as well. At this time, I would like to ask all family members of a veteran to please stand or raise your hand and be recognized. Thank you. Next, I would also like to thank all the Air Warriors, THS Wind Ensemble, THS Dance Company, and THS Choir members who are participating in today's ceremony. A special thanks to the film crew from THS TV who is filming this for us today. Thank you. Over 240 years ago, the founding fathers of this great nation composed an inspired document, the Constitution of the United States of America, a document which established a new form of government, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This government is based on the freedom, power, and responsibility of the individual citizen, and not a king or group of elites who rule over the masses. Since the early days of our nation, America and numerous other nations have been kept free or have been given freedom thanks to the efforts of our veterans, brave men and women who have stepped forward and have pledged their lives to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. From Valley Forge to Yorktown, from Fort McKinley to San Juan Hill, from the bloody trenches of France to Normandy and Iwo Jima, from Incheon to Saigon, from Beirut to Kuwait, from Baghdad to Bagram and the countless, nameless places in between, millions of America's finest have selflessly answered the call to duty. These are the brave men and women we honor here today. It is the blood, sweat, and tears of our military members that keep our nation free. It is through their sacrifices that all our citizens are able to enjoy those freedoms bestowed on us by our Creator and proudly affirmed in our Declaration of Independence, codified in our Constitution. We owe a deep debt of gratitude to all these brave men and women, and so many more just like them. Please join me in another round of applause for those veterans who have joined us here today. Thank you, and God bless.
Good morning. I'm Cadet Colonel Danielle Rhodes. I'm the group commander here at Thompson High School's Air Force Junior ROTC program. I would like to first start off by thanking all the men and women who have served for this country and who have done everything that they have for us. It takes more than what is imaginable to do what you have done. Your bravery and nobleness is astonishing, and for that, we are all forever grateful. Thank you so much for what you have done for us. I would also like to recognize and honor those who did not return home. They have all given the ultimate sacrifice for us, a sacrifice that the majority of us cannot even begin to understand. Their efforts will never be forgotten, and I thank them for their service and bravery. I would also like to recognize the families of veterans. It's not easy to have your loved ones gone and away from home. To all the families who have had to feel that feeling of sacrifice, just know that your love and support is more cherished than what you might think. So thank you all for that as well. I asked a couple of veterans that I knew some questions, such as what does being a veteran mean to them, or what does Veterans Day mean? One of whom that I asked was the husband of my previous gymnastics coach. He was a weapons specialist in the United States Air Force. And when I asked him these questions, he told me that being a veteran for me is like one of the most important ingredients in the making of a cake. It makes me a more complete version of myself. Veterans Day means appreciating those who are willing to give their all for their home and honoring all who did. When I was serving, the military put us through trying times and sent us to trying places. When you go through that with a group of friends, it gives you a bond like no other and teaches you to push past what you think your abilities are. To serve in the military, it really takes courage, strength, and dedication like no other. And every person who has served is truly a leader because of that. Today holds more significance than what we actually take the time to think about. The amount of sacrifice that our veterans have laid out for us, their family, their friends, their country, is beyond admirable. They miss holidays with their families. They miss birthdays and weddings. They miss the birth of their children. Some miss watching their child take their first steps. Some miss watching their children at graduation. They have sacrificed everything that they have just so that we can remain free. The freedom that we have every day is not thought about as often as it should be. When we say the word freedom, we often say it as a generalized notion, such as being able to go where we like, say what we feel, pursue our own desired careers, and the list continues. Or maybe when you say freedom, you think of the Constitution. Whether you think of it as freedoms as surrounding education, religion, healthcare, or any individual rights, there are still other countries that cannot quite say the same as us. It's the rights that we have every day that we talk about constantly that truly mean the most. We have our veterans to thank for that. We have them to thank for protecting that freedom for us. I genuinely ask you all, what does freedom mean to you? I believe that this day may also be looked at as a day for this generation to be inspired to continue the fight and protect our freedom. A day that future generations can help join in and continue this journey. We can all do our part and contribute to that cause. You do not have to join the military to help contribute. I think that is something that most people misunderstand. Your fight can be done as an American citizen right at home. So my message to you all is, despite whatever feeling that you might have to this day, whether you are patriotic or not, thank our veterans for what they have done. We cannot even think about what they have experienced and what they have seen. I only hope that I can someday obtain the amount of discipline and leadership that these people have. But do not thank them on only this day, just because it's the one day of the year that is solely dedicated to them. Anytime that you are out in public, thank them. Any relative or friend whom you may know, thank them. They are veterans and leaders every other day as well. What we honor today should be honored every day. Remember what went into their military service. Honor every veteran out there. I promise you will not regret it. They are the heroes who have kept us safe. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a blessed day.
Good morning, Thompson. How we doing? Hey, I just want to say, it always amazes me every year when we ask the family members to stand. There's probably 85% or more that stand up in here. So you guys have heard about sacrifice a couple of times this morning already, and you already know what sacrifice is. So my hat's off to you as well, those family members, for this day and those other days. Veterans, welcome and thank you. As the 50th anniversary of Vietnam comes to a close, the Alabama State Department of Education is proud to announce its support of this remembrance by partnering with the Department of Defense, United States of America, Vietnam War Commemoration. Thompson High School is also proud to join in this effort, and today we would like to take an opportunity to recognize and celebrate our Vietnam veterans who are here with us today. This commemoration defines a Vietnam veteran as any individual who served in the United States Armed Forces between the years of 1955 to 1975, from Fort Rucker, home of the United States Army Aviation Center, to Redstone Arsenal, Fort McClellan, and Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama, served a large role in support of Vietnam. There were approximately 2.7 million American men and women who served in Vietnam from 1964 to 1975, and an additional 5.5 million American men and women served in the armed forces throughout the world during that time. Of these, 1,210 Alabamians died in the Vietnam War. 31 are still considered missing in action. 9 have received the Medal of Honor, and 9 were also prisoners of war and released in 1973. Today, Alabama is home to over 100,000 Vietnam veterans alone. If you are here with us today and you are one of those Vietnam veterans, please stand or raise your hand and allow our cadets to present you with a special lapel pin and commemoration material. Who still needs one? That's it. Vietnam veterans, we thank you and welcome home. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give all these veterans one more round of applause. Thank you for being with us today. All right, we get to have a little fun during this Armed Forces tribute as they play If you are a family member or in the audience when your song is played, please stand during the song and let our cadets recognize you.
During the Vietnam War, a group called the Red River Valley Fighter Pilots Association, or River Rats, set the first prisoners of war missing in action remembrance table. This daring group of airmen came from different branches of our armed forces. They took their name from missions flown deep into North Vietnam and the Red River Valley. The missions were dangerous, and pilots took strength from their brotherhood of courage and shared knowledge. In the spirit of that brotherhood, the River Rats pledged themselves to taking care of their own. They vowed to having reunions once a year until their fallen comrades came home. In fact, they held practice reunions while still in Southeast Asia. It was at the first practice reunion that the prisoners of war missing in action table was set in the remembrance of fallen and missing comrades. Following the Vietnam War, the traditions of the remembrance table continue today, providing scholarship money to children of airmen killed during training or combat missions. We dedicate our presentation of the remembrance table today to you, our honored guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the center of our gathering. You may have noticed the table set before you. It is filled with symbolism. I will explain. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. Their chairs are empty but saved for their hoped return. Let us remember their absence. Let us remember the United States Army, honored by Cadet Master Sergeant Noah Mize. Let us remember the United States Navy, honored by Cadet Major Reagan Proctor. Let us remember the United States Marine Corps, honored by Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Courtney Rochelle. Let us remember the United States Air Force, honored by Cadet Airman Basic Brooklyn Valentin. Let us remember the United States Coast Guard, honored by Cadet Major Levi Stoll. Let us remember the men and women prisoners of war from all branches of service. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. Remember. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. The glasses are inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. Maybe tomorrow, if we remember. The red, white, and blue ribbons are tied to the flower vase by a yellow ribbon that was worn by thousands who awaited their return. Remember. The faded picture on the table is a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. Remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those who we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them.
Ladies and gentlemen, veterans, thank you for joining us today. Thompson High School staff and faculty, thank you for joining us today and for everything that you do on day in and day out. It is truly a privilege for Colonel Davis and I to be here as your JROTC instructors and lead this fine group of cadets. Thank you. Please stand for the retirement of our colors.
You may be seated. Before we close today, I want to take the time to again thank and recognize a few people. I'll start with our students, our cadets, JROTC, Chief Long, Lieutenant Colonel Davis for coordinating such a fine program today. So thank you, JROTC, for what you did to put this on. Also, to our wind ensemble, fantastic job today. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Also to Thompson High School Choir, Mr. Henry, thank you for your performances today as well. And of course, Ms. Bennett and our THS Dance Company, thank you for the job that you did. And to our SGA leader, Christopher Snow, and of course, also to Lauren McMillan, who's a member of our First Priority for your presentations, as well as our cadets. So the list goes on with thank yous. I also want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Vickers, for being here. He's always present for our events and activities, and we appreciate that, and him joining us today to honor and celebrate our veterans. We've talked about freedom. We've talked about the sacrifices, the prices that our veterans have paid, and the things that they have done to create such an amazing opportunity and a world that we live in, a country that we live in. And so students, as I always do at the end of these programs, I want to challenge you. Obviously, so many of you have family members, friends that you know, people that you know who serve currently or have served. Please take time to remember them, to thank them, and to show your appreciation and love for what they have done. Their service is indeed a sacrifice, and when you make a choice to serve your country, you're making a choice to leave behind something of your own, something personal, something that a lot of us have the freedoms to choose and the option to do what we want to do in our lives, in our world. And that's the thing that I really want students, I want you to remember. Our veterans, their services, their sacrifices over the years have created an opportunity for us to do what we want to do and be who we want to be based on hard work, based on discipline, based on serving something that's greater than you. And with that service that you have, whether that's in the military or not, you have benefits, you have things that come back to you because of that. There is no ceiling to the level of success that you can have in this country if you work hard enough and you dream big enough
You can do those things that you set in your mind to do. And I want you to remember that is, obviously that's a freedom afforded by God, but that's also a freedom in this country that the price has been paid by our veterans. Because if you look around the world, not everyone has the opportunities that we do. And you may have heard this before, but that's what we call the American dream. And it is alive and well, and it is because of our veterans. So, if nothing else, I want you, if you don't have a veteran to thank, if you don't have someone in your life who serves or has served, then the biggest thank you that you can give to our veterans is to take advantage of the opportunities that they have laid out in front of you and created for you. Don't settle for anything less than your best. And you give a thank you and serve a thank you and an appreciation to our veterans for just that. Veterans, I have, again, our special guests and our families today. I want again to say thank you for your service and your sacrifice. I do have a special presentation today that I think really truly sums it up for what we think of veterans. And I want to share a quick story with you about what I'm about to present. I have a special presentation, an award for one of our students here. A couple of months ago, a gentleman by the name, a Marine by the name of John O'Malley, sent our superintendent, Dr. Vickers, an email, shared an opportunity for students to participate in an essay contest that honors our veterans. And of course, Dr. Vickers forwards that on to me and to the other, the principals, and we shared it with our teachers and staff and laid out the opportunity for our students to participate in this essay contest. We had several students who wrote essays, produced essays, and it was a very tough decision. And I knew that our selection, because you could only have one selection, one representative per school, but I knew our selection had a really good chance. Now, this essay contest is not just for our school system or our school. This essay contest extends across the greater Birmingham, Jefferson, and Shelby County areas, and all the school districts and all the schools and all the students therein. So there's a lot of people, a lot of students who could participate and did. But we have a student here at Thompson High School who won that essay contest. And so I'm honored and very proud to ask Mr. Reagan Proctor to come up to the podium at this time. Where is Reagan? Reagan wrote an essay entitled "What Veterans Mean to Me." Now, if you don't mind, may I read it? Okay. So I'm going to read a piece of what Reagan wrote. I have always had the utmost respect for veterans because my family has a strong military history. Seeing my family and teachers achieve so much in service to their country really sparked my interest in the military. My father served in the Blue Knights Drum and Bugle Corps at Keesler Air Force Base from 1980 to 1981. My uncle is a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy and served as an AC-130 pilot for 30 years. Additionally, my paternal grandfather fought in the Korean War for 2 years, while my maternal grandfather proudly served in the U.S. Navy. Finally, my junior ROTC instructors have played a huge role in my life and have prepared me for my military service. Lieutenant Colonel Crown, Lieutenant Colonel Davis, and Chief Master Sergeant Long have all made an impact on my life. I will always remember them. All of these people are the reason I am here today, and they have put me on the right path to continue my family's legacy of service. They are prime examples of what veterans mean to me. My classmate, Daniel Rhodes, who was up here earlier with a message to all of us, says it eloquently. To have the bravery, strength, and courage to sacrifice their lives before us is something to not take for granted. I will always have respect for them and what they have done to not just change my life, but the effect that they have had on so many others. So Reagan, you are going to be presented with a $250 gift card, amongst some other things. And of course, also with your win, your instructors are going to be presented with $500 that they can use in their classroom. This organization, the Curlite Marine Alliance of Alabama, are the ones who drove this essay contest. And many students from around the area submitted an essay, and Reagan won. Okay, and I'm very proud of Reagan. Also, you and your instructors are invited to join them and their float tomorrow in the Birmingham Veterans Day Parade, which is always a huge event, fantastic event, and you are the guest of honor in the parade tomorrow. So congratulations. Let's give Reagan a big hand. That was perfect timing, guys, because we found out yesterday about Reagan winning this contest. And so that goes to show you that we have so many students, so many people that honor our veterans in so many special ways. And I want to again tell all of you to continue to do that, to honor them, to thank them. One more special thank you to our teachers and staff. I want to say thank you for always creating an environment for this event and for all the other events that we have. You maintain the safety and the decorum of our event in a very spectacular way. And I appreciate all that you do as well. And to students, thank you for showing the honor and the respect and the love and appreciation for our special guest today, the guest of the hour. And again, to our veterans, thank you so much for your service, for your past service, for everything that you have done to really take the ceiling off of the opportunities that we have to be whatever and to be as great as we want to be. So thank you so much. That concludes our Veterans Day program. I want to also allow our veterans and their families and cadets who invited them here, family members of anyone that is in our special section with our special guest, you may hang around and visit with your family, visit with the veterans, all other students, and we will start on this side. We will start dismissing with our freshmen. We are returning to first period to retrieve our belongings, our book bags, and then from there we will then transition to second period. So at this time, freshmen, you may be dismissed. Everyone else, stay seated until we dismiss you. Family members, friends, you're welcome.